So it's been about a year. Let's talk about the Corsair Vengeance. This video isn't really about benchmarking and taking a look at every single stat possible. There's plenty of videos already out there like that. The main thing I want to do is just give you my user experience as an average Joe and see how it's held up over the past year. So that's good. By the end of the video as well, we're going to go over a list of some pros and cons, and that might help you kind of weigh things out for yourself. This is my first pre-built computer, so I was a little skeptical at first because I'm used to putting in my own components, and even though I built the computers myself, they're not, there's probably some problems with that since I'm just an amateur and I kind of just figure it out by watching YouTube videos. But either way, I was a little unsure of how that would go, and I was always heard, there's problems when they ship these computers, they never come across right. There's always issues. There's issues returning them. So, those were some concerns I had first purchasing this computer. Let's talk about why I even bought a built computer in the first place, and why did that happen? Well, at that specific time, video cards were so expensive. Like, to get a 4090 on its own, it was going to cost you like, I don't know, 2,700, or some of the high numbers, 2,200, 2Gs, 1,800. Either way, I did the math, and building a computer with, every component that I want is still going to be more expensive than actually just buying a pre-built. So I opted to buy it, and I'll tell you about the first thing that happened. So I received my computer through the mail, and the phone packaging looked like it was fine. There was no issues with it. Box looked fine. It wasn't too chewed up. I pop everything in there, and over the next few days, the computer starts to randomly turn off. Not necessarily during heavy load, but it just would turn off, and it looked like it was the video card maybe that was going out. Either way, I had just purchased it. I didn't want to fight with it. I immediately requested a return. So they mailed me this little, label, and then I slapped it back on the box, stuffed everything back in there, and I shipped it out. And simultaneously, I bought another unit. So while one was getting processed on the return, I had another one already just coming. Just to go over again, I want to make sure we're talking about the same unit so no one's getting confused, because there are different specs out there. 13900K RTX 4090, 2 terabytes of M.2, comes with 64 gigabytes DDR5. Let's talk about price for that particular. At the time, I paid exactly $3949.99. Wow, that sounds really expensive. And with tax included, the grand total was $4256.11. So that's a big chunk of change. But like I said, the video card alone was going to be, $2,700. And that's just for the video card. That's not processor. That's not case. That's not anything else. So, all right. So I've never really bought a pre-built before. My dad always was into building computers. He got us into building computers. So every time I needed something, we would just go to him for help until we just started doing it on our own. So I've been building my own computers, not very well, but building them. So it's, there's always that argument of build versus bought. And that's kind of where I was hesitant to buying this particular computer in the very beginning. So part of the reason why I bought this instead of built it is right around that time, November-ish, when I put in the original order of 2022, you couldn't even get a video card. Like, if you wanted a 4080 or 4090, you just couldn't get your hands on one unless you wanted to pay triple, double, quadruple, whatever. And the prices are still kind of inflated, but they're coming down. But I just couldn't get a new card to make a new build with, so I looked at the option of buying a pre-built, which led me to the Corsair. How long does it take once you order it? So I did take down some dates. On the 27th of November, I placed the order, and it got shipped out on January 18th and was received by January 21st. So that's pretty fast considering it's near holiday time, and I think they were basically waiting for video cards to come in to pop them into the computer so they could ship them out. There was just a shortage of components at that time, and I think that's why there's a bigger wait. I think if you ordered now, you probably would have less of an issue. So originally, or my initial reaction, or I would say impression of Corsair when I first got that computer and it wasn't working was, here we go, I knew there's gonna be issues. I should have just built it myself. I should have been more patient. Maybe I could have done, looked at some other options. But truthfully speaking, I really didn't have those options. I couldn't find anything affordable at the time. And if you want to call the price of that computer affordable, well, it was even worse than that. If you wanted a 4090. Yeah, I didn't feel too good about the company at the time, but they shipped out another one. It was no hassle experience in terms of returning and getting a new one. So for that, I would say, good on them. I think one thing you can tell a company is, or how good a company is really how they deal when something didn't go right. How was their service recovery? That's really a test of how good a company is. So that was a great impression. Big screw up and then a big fix up, so no problem. Okay, so let's talk about pros and cons about this particular computer. The biggest pro is I didn't have to build it. It's a lot of time, and I know for some people it's really easy and they can just build a computer in a couple or a few hours, you know, and it's no issue for them. That shit's gonna take me like 2 or 3 days. And it's probably gonna be messed up when it comes out, so it's probably gonna be more like a week or two before that thing's like running normal. So there's that. It does come with a 2-year warranty. I would say that's a pretty big pro. That means my unit that I bought back in January of 2022 is still good at this moment, since it's a 2-year warranty. So if anything were to happen, you know, they would RMA it, and we get that solved. But still, it's good to know that it's still covered for a bit longer now. And the biggest thing or advantage was the availability. I just ordered it. They just told me how long it was going to be. It was no real issue. I didn't, you know, wasn't pages and pages of sold out video cards on, you know, Newegg or wherever you're looking. So that was also a big advantage at that time as well. It's quiet, you know, the PC does get a little warm when I'm pushing it, but for the most part, it's pretty quiet. Let's talk about the cons. Some of the things I don't like about buying a pre-built, and it's not just Corsair that does this, I think it's every pre-built, is you don't get to pick your components. So although Corsair makes a pretty large variety of products, and they all go into that computer, you know, the case, the RAM, the all-in-one cooler, the power supply, all of that's Corsair, but the motherboard and the video card are not up to you. For example, the first set I received was a Asus motherboard and an Asus video card. I think it was the Tough gaming line. It looked like a tank. It was kind of weird. I'd never seen it before. I even looked up on the internet. And then when I shipped that back and I sent the unit I'm using now I have an MSI motherboard, and it's running with a PNY video card. And I mean, I've heard of PNY mostly with a little USB storage clips, but I don't, other than that, not really anything. So you don't get to pick your components. If that bothers you, then this might not be a thing for you, but it works just fine. I haven't noticed anything. So take that, you know, as you will. Another bad thing is, like, if you start tinkering with your computer, so you got to swap something out, you're going to void your warranty. Now, if you say that's against, you know, building, you don't have a warranty anyway, except on certain parts and depending on what you do to it. But for the most part, it's just if you start tinkering with it. But within 2 years, you shouldn't be doing anything anyway. I mean, unless you're adding storage or you're putting in, you know, something, I don't know. You shouldn't be messing with it with the first 2 years. Another con was, you know, there is the ship time and the wait time. If I built it, I could probably have everything shipped here within like 3 days maximum, and I can just get started on building it. That's a pretty long way to order in November, you know, mid-November, and not receive it till, you know, late January. That's pretty crazy, but not unbelievable for the time. So what did I think overall? Overall, it's actually a yes. I feel like this is a really good product. I haven't had any issues with it. The customer service I did have to deal with was great. I mean, there was no problems. They just said, oh, sure, no problem. So it might be different when, let's say, you get further in past the original 30 days and you're not doing a refund. Maybe you're just like troubleshooting, you have to send in parts. I could see that as being a pain in the butt, but my personal experience, nothing broke in the first place to where I had to do that, at least not at that time frame. Well, I shouldn't say that. Something did break. I just caught it really early. So I don't know, but regardless, my experience was still really good with customer service. Experiences may vary. The price though is still big, but if I were to build, it's big too. So the way I look at it is at the time I saved labor. I think if I was patient and I waited even longer, I think cars are gonna continue to come down. But at that time, since I wanted it for editing, making these videos, you know, and then whatever games and stuff I use it for, entertainment at that time, I just really wanted to get the next gen and not really worry about it for a while. It was taking quite a while to render my stuff. I did notice a huge increase. I was like, I think I had a 2080 Ti before, which was good, but the rendering times got cut at least in half or even better than that. So it's a pretty big jump for me, and it really helps out. Again, the only thing that you would probably have to really think about is, am I okay using components that I didn't pick? For the most part, they're all Corsair, and if you like Corsair, then you're gonna be fine. But if it does bother you and for some reason you need a specific motherboard or a specific video card or something, then this isn't going to be for you. Probably I would just build it yourself. So thanks for watching the video. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one.